Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. Everything here is great. And today I want to talk a little bit about Rival Rails. Rival Rails is my two-player only cube rails style game that I've been working on for the last year and a half-ish. And it's super duper close. Super duper close meaning that this version is already useless. I need to order a new version. This board has changed significantly. Yeah, significantly enough that I can't just paste on some changes to the side. I need to actually reprint the board. And that's a matter of, do I do it myself or do I just order another one? I'll just order another one because my time's more valuable than that to me. All of the contract cards need changed. The deck of cards needs changed, and that's what I want to talk about. So, when I started this design, it was because M said, why don't you design something two-player so we don't have to wait on your friends to come over to play test? And I said, that's a good idea. And I started thinking of what I wanted to build, and I've wanted to make a train game for a long time. It's been kind of one of those, you know, in my mind's eye, a real game designer has to make at least one route-building train game, whatever. That's just internalization. That's not, you know, I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm just saying that that's what I felt. And so when she said, why don't you make something, I said, cool. And this is what I started with. Over the past year and a half, this game has gone through, depending on how you count it, I would say dozens of iterations. If you count, you know, I have manually printed at least 6, 7 versions of the board. I have ordered 5 versions of the board. I have made edits to the board where I will just print on stickers. You know, if these charts change, I'll just print a sticker and cover that up. I've done that many times. The cards have changed dramatically. I've cut entire parts of the game out, all in an effort to try to find the game that I started designing. So I got close. I got really close at Gen Con. This version is almost good. Almost done. It's really close. It's not quite there, but it's really close. So I played it at Gen Con, and the takeaway that I had from that was that the game was engaging. The end game was a little bit just not that great. And this commodity stuff was not presented the best way. And I've known that for a while. I wanted to be able to kind of make this better. I just wasn't sure how to do it. So that's what I've been working on since Gen Con. And I figured out a better way to present this information. I tweaked the numbers on the connections chart. I tweaked a couple of the special power cards that players can earn throughout the game. And I almost pulled the trigger on ordering that new version. To make the new version, I need to order the board and the 2 decks of cards. Originally, there was 3 decks of cards. I threw one of the decks of cards completely away. It was the main driving factor of the game. The original deck of cards was the game, and then the train game got built up around that, and then the train game became more important than that original idea, so I chucked it. Anyway, the point is I almost ordered it, and I decided let's not do that until I've play-tested the new version. So this past weekend, I play-tested with my friend Scott on Tabletop Simulator, and we had a good time. We enjoyed the experience. I just enjoy spending time with Scott, so that's nice. But there was still a few things that didn't quite sit right with me. The end game is like, on your last turn, whatever you do, you make your connection, that's kind of it, but you still have to draw a card, and there's really no reason for that. So I gave cards a meaning at the end of the game. With Scott, I had reduced, so like a traditional train game, when you build rails, you have a certain number of build points, and these green spaces cost 1, these spaces cost 2, water costs 2, you know, so you have to spend your build points to make your train connections. I had made that a flat 4 as opposed to a 5, and that reduced the amount of connections we were making. It reduced a lot of things about the game, which I actually enjoyed. It tightened the game up. But so I played this with the effort, with the thought of saying I'm going to play it, see if it's close, and then I'm going to order it. But what I discovered was it's not quite there yet. And one of the things that we found out when we were playing, there's one of those moments, right, when a playtester makes a suggestion or makes an error that you go, oh, wait a minute, I really like that. And that's what happened. So in this game, all of the share certificates have a value, 3, 2, whatever. In this deck, when this was still the version that I was using, those numbers corresponded to contract cards that you could earned at the end of the round. So if you had majority ownership of the number 3 company, you would get the number 3 contract. And at one point I thought, why don't I make the cards that you have remaining in your hand at the end of the game just worth face value? That gives them some meaning, and it gives you a meaning to maybe hold on to those 5s and 5-6 point cards because they're worth dollars at the end, and that could sway the game. That was fun. It was an interesting mechanic. And so what it also meant was I didn't want to have these cards range from 1 to 5. I didn't want that big of a swing in the value of a card. So I decided to make it they're 2, 3, and 4. So instead of these cards being matched by number, they're now matched by company. So these contracts are awarded per company. So I replaced that, and I made these cards all 2, 3, or 4 points at the end of the game. So we were playing, and Scott plays a card, and just because this big-ass number is on those cards, he thought that was how many trains he got to place. And then when I played a thing with like a 2 on it, or a 3 on it, and I'm going to get 4 points, he's like, why? You played a 2. And I was like, no. That number is just the in-game points value of this card. And he goes, oh, I'm an idiot, because he'd been playing the 4-point cards, and that's what he'd been doing. And he just associated those two things. And so it was one of those moments where we played, and we liked it, and we talked, and whatever. And then afterwards, I thought about what he did. I thought about him going, oh, that's not the number of points that I get? And I went, no, but it should be. It's one of those moments where you just go, damn, that was a really good idea. Like these, in this version, the version I played at Gen Con, those cards are just a rote value at the end of the game. They're all the same. So a company, the number 1 company, FAIRMONT, whatever it's called, all of those cards are worth $1. In the new version, there'll be a range. They'll go 3, 4, or 5. And that means that when you play that card, you get 3, 4, or 5 build points. And it made just so much more sense. So, the whole point of this video is, I think I'm close. I think I'm really, really close. But I would like to do some more tabletop simulator testing. And I would like for anybody out there watching this who wants to play test this game with me to reach out and say, hey, I want to play test. Let's do it. My email's in the description. All of my socials are in the description. You can find me some way, shape, or form and say, let's play test. And I would love to play test this game with you because I want to make sure that the next time I order, the next time I order doesn't necessarily have to be the last time. I just want it to be a version that's going to stick around because, if it's just a matter of changing some values on the board, I can do that without ordering a whole new print run. If it's systematic changes, the cards have to change or whatever, that's when it becomes a bit more problematic, and I'd rather just order it. So I would like to playtest more, and I need your help with that. If you're interested in playing a 2-player train game, let me know. Also, if you are familiar with Tabletop Simulator scripting, I would like to do some scripting for this. There's a couple of aspects that are just a pain in the butt to do on Tabletop Simulator, and I would like to figure out how to make that work. I started looking into it the other night, but I was tired and I just got overwhelmed by it and put it aside, but I might revisit it later. If you can help me with that process, let me know. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is Nebuchadnezzar. It is a noun meaning a king mentioned in the Old Testament of the Bible who destroyed Jerusalem, exiled the Israelites to Babylonia. And Nebuchadnezzar was driven from men and did eat great as oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers and his nails like bird's claws. Daniel 4:33. Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar. I don't know why that is a word you should know to sound smart. I don't think I've ever heard anybody use Nebuchadnezzar as a word in a thing other than the Bible.